Sir, we're approaching a podcast. It's part of the Legion Academy collective called Dice Time.
That's it. Bob Swaim and Ben Jetron are there.
My lord, there are several Star Wars Legion podcasts. It could be any number.
That is the one. Admiral, set your course for Dice Time.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dice Time.
Hey, stop, dude, keep it down.
Oh, right, sorry. All right. Welcome to Dice Time. I'm Ben Jetron.
I'm Bob Swaim, coming to you live from aboard the ISD Equalizer.
So Bob and I have jumped through a ton of hoops. We're secretly undercover aboard an Imperial Star Destroyer.
Hey, duck down.
Oh, shit.
Stormtroopers, hold on. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just didn't want to get caught,
Okay,
at the beginning of our mission.
We're good. I mean, we've got these officer uniforms on now. We should be okay.
Still, that beard is not regulation.
Oh, it's true. Neither's yours.
I know.
All right. Well, we've been on board for a few days now, and now seemed like the best time that we could get a signal through for the show.
These rebels that have tasked us with busting out a spy of theirs that got captured. What the heck is that about? We never get captured. Why do they all the time? It's good money though. They're gonna be doing some interrogation on them soon, and we don't know if they can take it or not.
Yeah, she's also my girlfriend, Trista Walker, and hopefully we can get a few words with her before we bust her out.
Very good. Skywalker? Did you say her name is Skywalker, by the way?
No, just Walker.
We got a lot of weird family tie-ins in this galaxy, and I just don't want to have to deal with that. That's a mess up deal there.
Yeah, you said it.
We're also going to talk about games that we played recently, and some of them in our hobby section. We got some stuff that we've been doing with our clones, and some RINs and some other stuff. So it's kind of cool.
Wait, Bob. I'm intercepting an Imperial transmission right now.
Oh no, we'll read it.
It looks like they're going to be investigating the Legion Academy podcast.
I know
they do live shows every Tuesday night, and they have these amazing live tabletop games every Friday night as well for Friday night fights. We should probably check them out too.
We can check them out through their YouTube channel at Legion Academy, as well as following their audio casts of their shows on all the other major platforms.
Yeah, so they're on YouTube primarily, but then they're also on Podbean and iTunes and Spotify. And, sometimes yours truly co-hosts on Friday Night Fights. So they do a lot of really awesome stuff.
Yeah, and they take care of us too. They give us shout outs and we take care of them. We're all friends in the big fancy galaxy. They also have this awesome Patreon where you can sign up and get monthly acrylic tokens. That's what got me started with them. I saw they had tokens and they're really, really cool, as well as shirts, bumper stickers, and more. So check them out if you got time. They gave out deployment zone markers, which was a really unique idea. I haven't seen those in a long time, so it was nice to get acrylic ones because I'm still using the cardboard ones from the starter set.
Now hear this. We have officially organized a Star Wars Squadrons Discord, made up of pilots from the Legion community. Many members of the Legion Academy and Legion Facebook page are signed up and are using the channel to organize squads, talk about the game, and share highlights. If you'd like to share squadrons with your friends in Legion, contact Ben Jetron on Facebook, and he will make sure you're flying with us. That is all.
All right, well, let's hop into this discussion before the next patrol comes along. So, what are we? I know you've played a lot of games recently, Bob. You wanna tell us a little bit about what you've been doing?
Yeah,
you've been busy.
I want to start a game at the last thing up at Atomic Comics, and games and music and all that good stuff. The fun store, the greatest store in Indiana. Yes, I'm biased, but still. They basically play once a month on the weekends. We get groups from Indianapolis, and Ben comes in from Bloomington, and we get people from all over the state, Fort Wayne. Paul Watson shows up every once in a while. It's very cool. And I happened to be playing the last time and drew one of my good friends, Chris Hershey, and I'd never played droids against droids ever. The whole time they've been out, because I judge, and he's like, man, we never get to play. We didn't get to play at Gen Con. Will you play me a game? And I'm like, yes. So he had a 500 point droid army, which included Cad Bane, who I'd never seen before, and Grievous. He had a sniper unit, those BX droids, and a couple of just normal droid units. I was playing Fives and Echo in their own art groups. Of course, I had Rex, and then I had 2 Phase 1 troopers out there, so I only had 5 activations. He placed his Bane tokens out, so I didn't know what those were about, and he was explaining them to me, and I'm like, oh. And he's like, you really probably don't want to pick that one. And I'm like, oh, okay, idiot, tell me where you're at. No, I didn't call him an idiot, but I'm like, oh, okay. So I ended up going the other end of the board, placing the 2 arc units in Rex, and sure enough, Mr. Bane was there, and Mr. Bane died very quickly. So what you're hearing about the arc troopers and combining fire is true. The sad part is, with 5 activations, I just burned 2 of my activations shooting at him, and I didn't kill him. So risky he ended up getting... Yeah, it's risky, but it worked out in my favor because I did enough damage that Rex, standing behind the ARC troopers, actually got to take him down. So he died the first round. So yes, some of the rumors about the ARC troopers are true. They are a little bit powerful, but that was 3 of my activations out of 5. Game went on. I killed a bunch of droids back and forth. Grievous decided he was going to come try his hand at what Mr. Bane failed at, and he didn't fail as miserably. He actually got in and played his card to where he gets to smack the snot out of everybody. Yep. Lost some marks, but in the end, I ended up beating him. And Chris learned a lesson of don't put Bane right up next to a deployment zone at range 1 to where people can get lucky and pick the right one. I never set his bomb off. I never got his smoke and mirrors thing out, and I pretty much decimated. It was a great game, though. He said he had a lot of fun. He says we have to play again this month, and he's bringing something to basically kill clones. That was boy. Yeah, so I'm looking to get my butt kicked. Except I'm going to play Imperial against him this time. Hopefully he won't hear this. I know we play a lot of clones on the show, so I've been playing a lot of Imperial just to counteract that. We play at my house just about once a week at least. My best buddy Mike, yes, you're my second buddy, Ben, but my best buddy Mike comes up. He lives closer than Ben does, or Ben would probably be there too. Got my butt handed to me by a bunch of clones, beaten up on Iden. I only had 5 activations and he had 7. He just wiped the floor with me. So, and honestly to God, he did not use any standbys, and he did not combine fire, and he still whooped me really bad. So just on the other hand, you don't have to combine fire with clones to make them successful. Mm-hmm. We played our the last one I'll talk about is an 800-point game that we played Monday this week, and it was a good game. It was pretty even all the way through. It was breakthrough. Clear conditions, and long march. It worked out. I was playing Iden. My buddy Mike had said, hey, what if you take 2 sniper units, you put Del Mico in, and you put Iden in. So you've got 4 snipers, basically. And I filled it in with Krennic to where I could get 2 sets of Death Troopers in also. So I had 4 Special Forces units out there. And then I had a Gideon Hask was with a Shore Trooper unit, and we pretty much just made a line in the sand, and we ended up winning, but just barely. It was a tough fight. It was a lot of fun. It was a great game. Most of my games with Mike are great. Sometimes he just kills me where I stand, and sometimes I kill him, but it's pretty much equal. And that was a fun game because we learned also, again, clones aren't invincible. They're not the end all be all. You can win. You just have to use the right strategy, and don't let them get close to you. And don't be afraid to move back. And okay, I like to shoot every round, but sometimes you just got to climb off the top of the building to where he can't shoot you, and just end the activation there. Take a dodge and stand behind the building. And that's pretty much about my 3 games. They were a lot of fun. Like I said, I've learned. Yes, I guess clones in a tournament, probably clones are a lot worse because people really, really, really want to win. And these were casual games, but they were fun games. I didn't feel that the clones were overpowerful in that measure. I imagine we're going to see them get neutered eventually before the tournament season starts back up. So it'll be really nice to see what they're going to do to them. So us diehard clone players can actually prepare for it, because right now everybody's playing standbys, everybody's playing combined fire, and it's not the way. I don't think it's going to stay that way. It's very powerful, and that's my stories about what games I played in the past month.
Yeah, I will say, to touch on the clone thing, it's not like a faction-wide, it's busted faction, and it's not even a arcs are busted faction, or like problem. I do think that there's some kind of I feel like yeah, it's like the standby castle that's really like really causing a meta problem because like I played Mike at the skirmish event that we had with my janky fleet trooper only list, and I almost tabled him, and he brought arcs. I mean, he only had an arc strike team, and then the rest were phase ones and Rex. But I mean, I almost tabled him from that. So I mean, it's not like it's not like it's a faction problem. Like it's still they can still lose, they can still win. It's I think it's just an inherent. There's something that they need to fix to make standby castle not a thing.
Yeah, that's to me is the big thing. I don't even think the combining fire because with their faction it's so expensive. At the most you're going to get, unless you take everything bare, if you put any kind of extra weapons on anybody, rotaries or whatever, it's going to take you down to probably no more than eight or nine activations. And you can't afford to spend 4 of those activations combining fire because you're going to get outmaneuvered and outflanked, and you're going to get beat up on. So you have to use it very sparingly. I mean, when it works, it works. I mean, if you run your Anakin Skywalker or your Cad Bane right up to me, I'm going to combine fire because I don't want shot by those guys. They can do too much, but I'm not going to waste that on a group of phase ones with a Z6 that's hitting and missing just to get rid of them. I'm not going to waste it. I'd rather take a couple shots at them and maybe thin them out a little bit. So I think it's all becomes in play on how you play the game and style, and whether you're going to play that win at any cost attitude. And sometimes that costs you. Sometimes it's great, but sometimes it costs you.
Yeah, I think fire support's fine. I think it has its own inherent flaws in it, so it's not. I don't think fire support is the broken part of.
Yeah,
like
it's a give and take.
From.
It's a total give and take. You get high reward, but there's a high risk because if you blow it, you've wasted 2 activations, and the dice are fickle. I don't care if they're black or even red dice are fickle.
Yeah. So I had one game, not counting the fleet skirmish event, which I'll talk about in a bit. But we had I had a game with my buddy Josh, my roommate Josh, who also occasionally comes up to Muncie when he can. We did a game. I've been trying to. I have a Cad Bane list that I've really been wanting to do. That's why I was like taking inspiration and really gelling well with Chris's list that he brought to the skirmish, because he was like, I want to play Cad Bane, and like that, he's the center of my list, and I'm like, yes, that's what I want to do with Separatists when we can do that. We need the generic commander before we can really do it, but right now there's still Grievous Cad to run with. So what I had was a Grievous Cad Bane list that utilized 2 full units of the BX Commando droids and their Saboteur and Vibro Swords. And I think I put Tenacity on them as well. So I made Cad Bane. We played Breakthrough and Battle Lines. So we were on the long edges of the board trying to get through to the other side. And Josh was playing Iden with 2 Death Troopers and a bunch of Stormtroopers and Veers. And it was a pretty solid looking list. And it had a Sniper Strike team in it as well. And so he set up... I divulged Cad Bane, which some people say is a trap, and I would beg to differ. You just have to know what you're doing with it, and to do that, you're just going to have to use it a lot and get a lot of reps with it before you figure out where you're going to do everything. And I think there's a lot of really cool tricks you can do with divulging Bane with his tokens. So I set Bane up on one side of the field by himself, almost by himself. Like I put the Here I Am token like off to the right near a wall, and then I put Kablamo like in some light cover, in some light area terrain, like in the middle of the board, thinking that maybe he thought I was going to put Bane there or something. And then I set the Smoke and Mirrors up like in an advantageous behind heavy cover situation that thought maybe Here I Am is over here. I think that's the main thing when I'm playing Bane tokens, is I'm trying to like make all of my tokens feel like any of them could be Here I Am. And so that's like what I tried to do when I was like trying to set them up, to make it seem like all of these could be Here I Am. I don't want to just like give you, at bare minimum, I could put Kablamo out in the middle and you can just know that that's Kablamo if you have to go down that lane. But if But at bare minimum, with Smoke and Mirrors and Here I Am, I want both of them to look like they could be Here I Am. And Chris threw me for a loop when we played our game at the skirmish event when he played his main tokens. I was like, all three of these could be Here I Am. But anyway, so we played through, and I had Grievous and two. I deployed Grievous and two of the commandos up along the same side of the board that Iden was on. Iden and some of the two Death Troopers. He deployed all of them on one side, and I said, you know what? I'm going to place all the commandos and Grievous on this side of the board, which was opposite from where Cad Bane was. And I said, I'm going to tar pit you by just running all these commandos into your Death Troopers, dropping bombs, popping bombs. Because poison would be really great to get on Death Troopers. And then Grievous will roll in, finish anybody off, and then we're just going to all gang on Iden. And, well, I mean, and then most of my B1s that weren't there, yeah, I took a bunch of B1s instead of like B2s or anything, just for points. But when we get the generic commander, that might change, I'm not sure. But I moved a lot of the droids to the side, because there was like a big mountain kind of formation in the middle. And so it kind of split the board into two different sides, and the whole Grievous Commandos Death Trooper Iden battle happened on one side of the mountain, kind of isolated, and then the rest of the game happened on the other side. Bane got found. The only opposition that Bane really had was a sniper strike team, so he promptly shot that down with almost no effort and moved on. And Josh ended up just like calling it like turn 4 because I had already killed both of the Death Troopers and Iden, and he didn't have anyone that was going to be nearby to even respond to it, let alone get anyone to my deployment zone. And I could easily just walk Cad Bane in with no opposition whatsoever. So it was very decided early on. It was a very fun list that I'd love to do more of.
Bane's a monster. He really, really is. That's why when I kind of looked at what he does, but I didn't really, study him enough. But, when Chris and I were playing, I kept looking at the card and I'm like, hand it to me. And I keep looking and going, well, they gave him that. Well, that sucks, and just back and forth and this and that. And I'm like, all right, he's got to die. And that was the sole decision of, all right, we're just going to combine fire and wipe him. And then he got through. He saved like 1 point because I'm like, he's only got 5, or he's got white. He's got 5 or 6, but he's got white dice, so I'm not real super scared of not killing him. And then he actually survived one of them. I was like, oh crud! So he did get his attack in on my clones. He didn't do a very good job of doing anything with them. And then my man Rex, of course, said, no, dude, you don't mess with my arcs. Those are my brothers, and put a hole in his head. And then kicked him to the curb and said, come on, Grievous, let's see what you can do. And he pretty much went out the same way. So there is a point, even with a five unit squad, to where you just have to combine fire and get rid of those, because if not, if Grievous would have got another round, he would have probably killed all my arcs.
Yeah.
Maybe Fives and Echo would have been alive, but I wouldn't have had enough oomph to take him down. So I had to, he was coming in hot. So you gotta throw that bucket of water on him. And like I said, he still got in and played that card where he gets to smack everybody, and everybody was grouped real close together. So he got free attacks on everybody. Luckily, Rex had moved just enough to where he couldn't see him. So yeah, he'd moved out. For some reason, I had moved him over just a little tiny bit for some reason when I saw Grievous coming. And then, so I didn't get my aims when I moved Rex out, but I really didn't need him. Well, I got my tactical aim, but I took one action to move, got my tactical, and then shot him in the head too. But it was a really good game. I really like playing against the droids. I had never got the chance. We don't have too many droid players up home in Muncie, but yeah, Chris did a real good thing with it. He taught me to be afraid of him, because now he knows what my clones can do against him. So. But I think I'm going to play some Empire this time, just to change it up a little bit, if I get to play. It depends on who all and how many, if we have even numbers and stuff. And I know the store owners' daughters are getting armies built for them, and I think they're going to play most likely. So we'll have a few girls playing and some guys, and hopefully have a really good turnout. Like I said, we give away really good prizes. He's got dice. I know. I'm pretty sure he's going to give away some dice and some plastic cards, and I don't know what all he's got in store. He usually goes and does that while I'm running the games, and then he brings them out and goes, look at this. And, oh, these are cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I would play droids if as soon as I can get my whole list together. I'm wanting to see what the last missing piece is. I need to replace Grievous with the generic commander so that I
Yeah.
can flesh out the rest of the army. Because in my version of it, I want to play Cad Bane with 3 full units of commandos, with vibro swords, with the saboteur, with tenacity.
Right.
Tenacity might be optional, but I want 3 full squads with Cad Bane, and then everything else can just be B1s, and then my generic commander, who I might honestly, depending on how his card, or not his cards, but depending on how his stats and keywords work, it honestly might be a better play for me to just run him, like purposefully run the commander out to go die, so that I
Exactly.
can promote Cad Bane, because Cad Bane has 3 courage, and having a 3 courage commander is awesome. And I will have not lost much by losing one mini activation in a huge droid list of like 10 activations already.
Mike did that. I killed his Rex, and it really wasn't a big deal because he had he had Padme out there, but he had 5s. Was it 5s? Yeah, 5s.
Oh, he promoted 5s.
Yeah, so he just throws it to 5s, and 5s got a 3 courage within a group of arcs. So it was like, oh, okay. So he's even actually better than Rex. So you're kind of like, oh man, too bad you can't just make him the commander and go on. But I believe Rex is getting a raw deal with some of the stuff that's coming out, because it's like, it's Rex. Why has he only got 5 hit points? Why this and that? But why does Padme with her white armor have 6?
Well, why does Leia only have 2 courage?
Yeah, Leia should have 3.
There's questions like that just happen through game mechanic, but I think that they'll abridge some of the stuff that needs to get fixed. Like they could easily come out with like an upgrade for Leia, like a card that's like specifically for like this can only take on Leia only, but it like increases her courage by 1.
Exactly. I think
you could just pay a tax to cater those characters to different things. Like if you wanted to increase someone's health or their courage or something, like maybe there's just a tax. There's a card that you can play that customizes that character a little bit instead of having to switch to a different character entirely. Maybe you can just tweak that character a little bit.
It'd be cool, like Rex's armor upgrade, and it gives him a little bit more courage and another hit point.
Yeah, maybe.
So like when he gets his phase 2, his 1.5 armor.
Yeah. Maybe.
There's all kinds of cool things that you could do there. But let's go on to maybe some alternate sculpts and some of that good fun stuff.
I mean, yeah, they could do a lot of different character taxes to like change around the stats and stuff. That's a conversation that we could totally just sit down and have right now.
Oh crap, Lord Vader. We were just
we're calibrating the hydro engines.
Yeah.
The rebel prisoner has not yet been interrogated, and the officers in the detention block are not responding. I sense that there's a rebel plot at work.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen any rebels aboard the
There are rebels aboard. Do not test my patience with doubt.
What would you have us do, my lord?
Report to the detention block and interrogate the prisoner. When I find out where the rebels are hiding, I will personally see to their immediate execution.
Of course, Lord Vader. Dude, I swear he was gonna kill you. That would have been so funny.
Oh,
I mean, sad. That would have been sad.
I thought he was gonna kill me too. Okay, all right, let's go get Trista.
Okay.
Trista, there you are.
What are you guys doing here?
We're busting you out of this hole. But first we need to get the intel that you gathered.
Yeah, we have some tech with us. We can transmit it to Rebel HQ right now, just, in case escaping turns ugly.
And it always turns ugly with us.
Okay, I guess, but we should act fast. What do you need to know?
Well, we had a few questions just about, general Star Wars and whatnot, and you and your history with it. So like when you initially started, or like the first time that you were introduced to Star Wars versus where you are now, like how has that like perception kind of changed? Like I know you weren't always like at the fan level you are now, but like,
not at all. No, not
but
at all.
but like but where did that? So like where did that start and like transition to where it was now?
So the year was 1999.
The year was 1999.
I remember my dad took me and my little brother to see Phantom Menace in the theater, and that was actually the first Star Wars movie that I saw. Yeah, because I was 7 years old and I hadn't seen any of the original trilogy yet, actually.
You saw that one before me.
Yeah,
I
well,
saw them all before
yeah.
you.
Well, you don't count.
That's because I'm old.
So you saw Phantom Menace was the first one, and like
Yes.
how was that? Like you said with your dad and your brother.
hmm I mean, I remember it being pretty cool. I had no idea what was going on. At
Right.
all. Jar Jar Binks was weird. He still haunts my dreams sometimes.
Uh-oh.
But no, it was definitely interesting, and I know it was something my dad really liked, so I wanted to, find out why he liked it. And my brother, even though he was a few years younger, he really loved it.
Yeah.
And Darth Maul was his homeboy. So
So, from what you saw back then to now, do you think Phantom Menace was really as bad as everybody thought it was? Or from your perspective, is it just, it was made for children and all the adult kids like me and Ben went and saw it and we're like, man, that ain't exactly what we were expecting. What was your fresh mind experience with that compared to now when you know probably everything there is about Star Wars with Ben telling you and talking to you about it all the time, probably?
So I didn't have the history with it back then, so it didn't mean that much to me. I just thought it was like a cool
Right.
movie with like, cool lightsabers and
Yeah.
pew pew. But I don't think it's a bad movie. I think after seeing all the other movies and the originals, it's different for sure, and it's not exactly the same type of vibe, and I can see how like Phantom Menace and that trilogy was directed more towards kids. But I still think it's enjoyable, and yeah, some of it might be a little ridiculous, I guess, but like I think the prequels are fine.
So now you've seen a little more than that.
But just a little.
Just a tad.
So now you've seen all the movies and all the shows, and I forced you through
Well,
all that.
I still haven't seen that one.
Oh, we're not talking about Resistance
Oh,
until
yeah.
it gets good.
Oh yeah, we don't talk about that.
Not
We
till
don't
it
talk
gets
about
good.
Resistance, and we don't talk about the Christmas special.
Oh, well, I'll talk about the Christmas special. But
Oh, don't do that, dude. We ain't got time for that, Tribe.
we got a segment. All right, fresh segment. Let's talk about the Christmas special. So, yeah, we're on a time.
We're in the cell. Let's get this thing going.
This is not the place to be talking about the Christmas special. We'll go to perfect. No one will listen to that. Anyway, so now you've like seen all the shows, and was it because I forced you through it, or did you actually have the desire to?
You did not force me. We started doing the chronological watch, which included some that I hadn't seen before, and you kept telling me like where certain shows would fit into it, and after we finished that, you were like, we should really watch this before like Mandalorian and stuff, and before the final film and everything, and
Yeah.
So if I wasn't interested in it, I would not have gone to the effort to watch all of that.
Yeah, because that's a lot.
It was a lot. It took us like a few months to get through Clone Wars because we were kind of slow in the beginning. But I think it was worth it for sure, and it's something I probably would not have watched like on my own.
Oh, sure.
So.
It was me being dumb me, loving so much Star Wars that you were like, okay.
You were just like Clone Wars, but Clone Wars, and Rebels, but Clone Wars.
You gotta love Clone Wars. You gotta love Rebels. I mean, it's awesome. It's so much history of that the movies couldn't take you, to where it needed to go. So they had to do those to put you in the right mood for everything else that was happening, and you could see the betrayal a little bit more.
yeah, to just the shows just kind of take you behind the scenes a little bit of like what else is going on and who else is out there.
No, I actually loved like all of the filling in of all the details between what happened during that time period.
Yeah.
Because I love with shows and stuff knowing what's happening in that like off time that
Yeah.
you don't see on screen. I like to know things.
Yeah.
I have so many questions all the time and I just want them answered, as you know.
Yeah.
What really made it cool was with those last 4 episodes where you actually got to see what happened to Ahsoka, what happened to Rex. I mean, you know they're both around because of Rebels, but that basically give you that filling in spot of where the hell were they during the whole incident at Coruscant and there. So to me, it was a very cool part of the history getting to know, because Rex, of course, is my favorite, and I love Ahsoka.
Let me say something real quick.
Go for it.
We started watching Clone Wars while season 7 was coming out. And then we were, like I said, we were kind of doing like a chronological thing. So we watched all the movies in chronological order, and then we started going back and watching the shows. So the first show was Clone Wars. And then she got the unique opportunity that not many people got, because, all the Star Wars fans went out and saw Rebels when it came out, or saw Clone Wars, saw Rebels when it came out, and then now are going back and watching Clone Wars because it just, like the last season of Clone Wars because it just came out. However, she got the unique opportunity of getting to watch the full series of Clone Wars before seeing Rebels for the first time. So she didn't know that what was going to happen to Ahsoka and what was going to happen to Rex.
No, I was so stressed out.
She was like, I don't know what's about to happen to them right now.
Every time we watched another episode, I was like, where's Ahsoka? Where's Ahsoka? Where is she?
Is Rex okay? Because I'm invested. Where the hell's Rex? I played that side of the coin. Where's Rex? Where's Rex?
Now we're playing it again with Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I definitely cried in the last season of Clone Wars.
Everybody did. If you're a true fan, tears were shed. No matter if you're a guy, girl, kid, old guy, whatever. It was like, oh my God, this is so heart-wrenching.
Yeah, Ben witnessed that for sure. I cried a lot.
So you started with seeing Ahsoka as a kid, and you got to watch her grow up over the seasons and become not a hardened Jedi, but go from being that little snappy smartass of a kid to someone who really cared about people and really became what Anakin should have become pretty much. Is that what you got out? Because that's what I kind of got out of it. It was Anakin's story all the way, but it was kind of a coming of age story for her. Because at the beginning, not many people liked her. Like, why they got this stupid kid in there? Anakin didn't have an apprentice. Da 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 da. And by the end of it, you're like, oh my God, what happened to her?
Yeah, that is actually kind of how I felt, which I learned from Ben was kind of a popular opinion. I did not care for her that much at the start of the show. I mean, she wasn't bad. I didn't find her that interesting, and I didn't care for her like nicknames that she gave to everyone. And then, yeah, like a couple seasons later, she was like my favorite one. And when she left the Jedi, I was like so upset, like waiting for her to come back and have more storyline. And I was so disappointed that she wasn't in like a majority of, was it season 6 or 5? She was gone.
6,
yeah, she was
6.
gone for a long time.
Because that was it.
Yeah,
she was
and
out,
I
gone.
was just like, when is she coming back? I know she's got to come back. When is it?
And then you always had to worry about her during the purge because you didn't hear anything about her. You're like, did they kill her? Did Rex kill her? Where's Rex?
I know.
What happened to him?
That's something I asked Ben so many times. I was like, well, I know she's not in the movies, so
like the original trilogy.
Yeah, I was like, so she's dead, right? Like she doesn't make it. And he was like, well, I'm not going to tell you that. But
I was just like, I don't know. We have to see. Like, I had to be. Trista asks like a million questions while we're watching that get answered in like a later episode or another show, and I'm like, just wait, I guess.
Oh yeah, whenever like she shows up at the end of season 1 of Rebels, I was so excited.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna be for how much you loved Ahsoka during Clone Wars. I was like, I cannot wait until they reveal her in Rebels because she's gonna lose her mind.
A little bit before that too, I was like, well, you kind of like threw me off with it.
Yeah, I had to throw her off because they started talking about Fulcrum, which she like uses that name in like the end of 7 and like or like near season 7.
And I was like, Fulcrum. Yep. Oh, that's Saw Gerrera, right?
Right. Yeah. No, I said specifically the first time they used Fulcrum, I immediately jumped on it and went, oh, Fulcrum. Do you remember where you've heard that before? And then you were like, it sounds familiar. And I was like, do you remember who uses that? And she was like, Saw Gerrera. And I was like, yeah. And then just dropped it. And I was just like,
what's
great.
his name? What's his name was a Fulcrum too, the blonde guy that was in Rebels, the antagonist for the first couple of seasons.
Yeah, but that didn't happen yet. That was at like the start of season 1.
Yeah, I think Gerrera. No, you know who was was a Fulcrum? That was Cassian. Cassian went by Fulcrum for a while too. Yep, he was a Fulcrum too. There was 3 of them pretty much. It was Ahsoka, him, and then the dude from Rebels.
Well, this will fall great. So, Trista, your favorite characters are Fulcrum, right? All your favorite Star Wars characters are all Fulcrum, right?
I mean, I did low-key end up kind of loving Callus in a weird way that I didn't expect to. Like a full season before he actually is revealed to be working with them, I was like, man, I want them to turn Callus. I want him to like go to their side and stuff. And there was that episode with like him and Zeb when they were trapped on that like snowy planet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really liked their dynamic. So I was like, man, I want to see more Callus being helpful.
It was cool because when they brought him back, nobody said hello or we're glad you're back or none of that crap, and Zeb got the hero's welcome, and Callus is just kind of sitting on his bench in his room, twiddling his thumbs, like, nobody freaking cares about me. I think that was his actual turning point. I mean, that was cool. So
I liked him a lot in the end.
Yeah, he was cool.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure. So, like, your favorite characters are like Ahsoka, right? And Diego Luna.
Diego Luna, of course. Yeah. No, I do love Cassian.
So him and Callus. It sounds like Fulcrum is just your favorite Star Wars character.
I guess so. Now that you mention it.
All right. So you have also started to do something akin to what I do, which is have these like little Star Wars stories that I like to like write these little short Star Wars stories, and then like I like to incorporate them in like tabletop games. Like I've run a Clone Wars campaign, and I'm starting an original trilogy sequel campaign. It's pretty cool. But you also love to write.
I do. Yes.
I've read a lot of your like stories and stuff that you've written, like both in the past and like more recently, and they're just like really good.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm biased, but it is really good.
No, just a little.
But it is good. And
my dad says I'm great.
you were inspired by watching the shows, mostly Clone Wars. You were like, I want to write like a Star Wars story. So like we won't get into like too much detail because I know that you wanted to like you didn't want to like spoil everything that you had working on. But like, can you tell us like what you kind of like what the mindset is working on that, and like what you were thinking about when you wanted to write, and like what you wanted to write about?
So yeah, I kind of started having the idea for that back in January when we were still watching Clone Wars,
right.
And it was not that long after the last movie had come out, so we were talking about Star Wars frequently, like quite often.
Yeah.
And I just started wanting to see stories of more like female characters up front.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know there's plenty of like strong female characters in Star Wars, but there are not a lot of stories, it seems, that are focused just on them, I guess. So I kind of started having an idea for a couple of like female lead characters where it's just mostly about them. And then that coincided with a conversation that you and I had where you said you wished there were more stories where it weren't just like human leads and stories following more of like the alien races and stuff. So I was like, hey, I could combine those together and make this like weird amalgamation of this female smuggling group.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like no humans really.
Yeah, I think there's one.
There's one
in your like group that you made. But
she's like one of the least developed right now.
Yeah.
This is a process.
I don't know if I've mentioned it on the show before, but I keep talking like, you know, Star Wars has so many amazing races in it, and there's so many characters that are from all the different aliens, but like all the main characters for everything are always human. And I'm like, why are humans like the most quintessential race, and it's because it's the easiest one to like do hair and makeup for. You don't have to put in like, you don't have to do body makeup, you don't have to do weird latex stuff, but it's just like, but there's so many cool races, like make them main character. Like Hera in Rebels was a huge start in my opinion, because that was like, and Zeb, it was just like, oh cool, main characters that like are aliens.
Well, and I guess it's
Yeah, and like Ahsoka, exactly. It's just like, these are like, and they're like near human races that you just have to do a little bit too, but they can be main characters. Like, have a Mirialan main character that's literally just like green and some little face tattoos, and you're done.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, okay, yeah, and that's what you're doing, but it's just like, I'm just saying, like, you could do that in film and stuff, because it's super easy to do.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see more of, because so many of the races that you see in the shows would look so cool on screen, I think, too.
Right.
But it's kind of like a new thing for me to be writing stories in a world that already exists.
Yeah.
That's not something that I'm used to doing. So I've been doing so much research trying to make things as accurate as possible. As you know, I'm constantly asking you questions about the tiniest little thing, because I want to make sure it fits, and I like want to do justice to the world if I'm actually like trying to write a story that takes place in the world. So yeah, I've been putting a lot of work into it, and it's kind of a long process, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's really fun to like play into what's already there. Like in a way it's a challenge, but it's also like a fun challenge to try and fit your story in so that you can, and I did this with like the Clone Wars campaign when I was playing it. One of the last sessions that they did was the Battle of Coruscant, like the space battle. That was like this one, like near one of the last sessions that they did. And so they're in the space battle, and I'm like, oh well, your ships go and you're doing this, and then you're heading off to this ship and you're doing this, and then you can watch the movie and I can point to like scenes and go and like ships in the background and go, you see those ships over there? That's you guys. Or like that's what you guys did. Yeah. And there's another thing I don't remember now. I think there was, but I do stuff like that because it's really fun to be able to do that with your story. Like to be, oh well, during the time that this was happening, my story takes place.
Yeah, and reading the short stories that you've written about Star Wars have like they definitely inspired me to do that.
Yeah.
Also,
because it's fun.
I was like, yeah, I can do that. I want to do that.
Yeah. Because it's fun. It's fun to like try and like fit it in and make it flow and be like, wow,
Not sure what I'm gonna do with it. I've really only had like 2 readers so far.
Well, once it's like all said and done, I think we have a platform that Star Wars stories might be going to soon.
That would be very cool.
So recently, you've been pushed even further over the edge of Star Wars, and you've had to you decided to try Legion.
Yes, I have tried.
Welcome to our world.
You did better than I did at that event. But
that was not skilled.
Neither's mine. I look at my invite. My invite wasn't skilled. No, I'm just kidding.
Very lucky. Both of you. Very lucky. Yeah.
But so we played a couple games before we did the skirmish event last month in September at Muncie, and you've been coming with me to those events
for about a year.
Yeah, for a while, just to and you just go to hang out and just kind of hang out, and you talk to Bob, and you've met Bob, and you've met some of the other guys that go there, and you haven't played or anything, but like there was the desire to try playing as well and see how that goes. And so what we did was we kind of set up, we're like, oh well, let's do a skirmish event, because skirmish is smaller, and I believe, and you might feel the same way, opposed to the 800 point, that skirmish is a much easier intro game.
Yeah, I have found it to be a little less intimidating so far, like the shorter games, because I'm still working on getting a like fuller grasp of it.
Yeah, so I set you up with since he had just come out and he is probably your favorite character in the game right now, I set you up with Cassian and K2.
Yeah, they're my boys.
And I whipped up a 500-point Cassian and K2 list, and we practiced for a few nights and just tried some games out, and you got the hang of it.
I mean, I beat you both times.
That's true, you did. And I played Empire just to have thematic matches, and I don't really know Empire that well. But then we went to Muncie, and we went to the event, and you want to just tell us a little bit about how your experience with that went?
I mean, it was good. I was definitely nervous. I'm kind of an anxious person by nature, so trying to do something that I don't fully understand yet, I find to be kind of nerve-wracking, and I like to know what I'm doing. So it was out of my comfort zone for sure. But I'm glad that I did it. I didn't. I don't think I did that great, but
You did fine. You did perfectly fine.
Worse.
I mean, you did. Like I said, I got what, 7th in an 8-person tournament.
Yeah, you sucked. You sucked totally bad.
Sucked. I want everyone to know that it was not due to my list, because I went 1 and 2, and I completely dominated a clone list with arcs in it. And then the third game that I had went all the way down to the wire, and there were 2 lucky B1 battle droids that crit on Princess Leia, and that gave my opponent the win. But otherwise, that game was ridiculously close. And then the first game was Paul Watson and his wicked armor skirmish list. That if you listen to Legion Academy and check them out, they just had Paul on recently, and they talked about his skirmish list that he played. And my fleet troopers were not prepared for that.
Yeah, he kind of stomped on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did somehow manage to get 4th, I guess, but I kind of wish I would have gotten 5th, so I could have gotten that sweet cup.
Oh yeah, so I got 6th because we were separated by one place that Chris took, and Chris was the one that got that cup, and we were both like, man, if you did a little bit worse or I did a little bit better, we would have had that cup.
That was
Chris
a
was
really
happy
nice
with that cup.
Yeah, because Atomic Games likes to give out they pick random places down the line, and they'll give out an extra Star Wars gift.
I thought that was going to be a first place cup.
No, man.
Yeah,
we
no.
take care of everybody. You don't have to win the whole thing to get cool stuff. We hand out a lot of prizes, and they're all good. But and first place will get a little bit more probably game related stuff like classic cards or dice or something like that. But we try to take care of everybody, and he does that with all the tournaments. If you go to a Prime, he's always got some sort of extra Star Wars stuff, cups, posters.
Oh yeah,
I ended up winning a
First and
Vader
second.
head poster one day. It was cool.
First and second this time, or in September, got the clear red dice.
Yep.
The
We have a
transparent red dice.
whole
I
bunch
was like,
of
man,
those.
I haven't seen those in so long. I didn't know you still. Oh my god! And
We
then
have a bag of. We have a bag of them to give out. We'll be giving them those out on the 24th. I think.
All right, everybody. You know what to do. Head to Muncie for the start coming to Muncie, man. Atomic Games, Muncie, Indiana. We throw on a good show.
We have good swag. Slade's actually gone out and he's only got one at the moment. They shorted him one, but he's getting some new kits. I know this one has some cards in it for skirmish games. FFG's looks like they've started printing those out. We've got a bag of red dice. So I don't know how he's going to hand those out. And then we got some plastic cards, which I'm going to leave as a surprise to what they are, but they're really cool. I'm definitely going to want one of those things. So if you win, we'll have to talk.
So earlier you were kind of talking about how you were a little stressed and outside your comfort zone, and I know that part of that came from not having a full grasp on Legion, as you put it. But you were also the only woman in the room, and wargaming as a whole by demographic is predominantly male hobby. So did that play into some of the stress you were kind of feeling that day?
I would say yes. For me, at least, being the only woman in a room anywhere always feels a little nerve-wracking, so that's always going to play a part.
Yeah, I can definitely understand how like being the only woman in the room definitely would carry its own like inherent stress. Are there things that like a community can keep in mind and do to like ease, some of that stress and kind of like make you feel more welcome?
Yeah, I think that there are. I don't need men or people to accommodate for me just because I'm the only woman in the room, but I do expect for them to respect me, like, and have the same level of respect for me as they would their other people there.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I feel like should be done. Are there like specific examples that you've had at other events or other situations where like that sort of happened to you?
I mean, I've definitely been in situations before where I've been the only woman in like a group of men, and they make the same kind of jokes that they would make if it was just like them and their friends that maybe aren't appropriate jokes to make around women that you don't know very well or at all. And that can make me kind of feel uncomfortable and maybe make me not want to go back to the same place if that were to happen. So I think just kind of being mindful of the things that you say around women and just keeping in mind those things.
Yeah, because I think that that's definitely something that communities can do in order to make sure that anyone who comes in and any woman who comes in feels welcome to come back.
Yeah, just keeping that in mind, like watching what you say is definitely going to make them feel more welcome and like they can go there and have a good time and feel comfortable enough to go back again. And yeah, and if they're comfortable enough to go back, then that's going to help to keep the fan base expanding. And I guess that's what you want is for your game to get more popularity.
Yeah, right. That's like exactly what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, because if you do that, you're going to expand the fan base of the game, let alone and like also your community. And yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too.
Like, I will probably never be a competitive player, but I like to play casually and would like to go to more casual events sometimes. And I would prefer to go back to communities where I know I feel welcome and comfortable around the people there.
Yeah, and that's totally the idea, and that's absolutely what I think needs to be what needs to come across. Yeah, because I love when you and I get to go to like Atomic, for example, and we get to just like sit down and like we get to have a couple casual games, and it's a good time. And I think more communities definitely need to open themselves up and keep in mind to feel to be welcoming and just to keep these things in mind.
Yeah, that's been a pretty low key environment that I've enjoyed going back to. And so yeah, I think other communities would do good to do the same kind of thing. And to summarize, I guess just don't be creepy.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
I could tell by watching you that you were having a good time, especially when we played and you got to play Slade, because Slade's crazy.
Yeah.
He's so much fun to play.
I beat him too.
You did. You ended up that's like saying you beat a 4-year-old, but no, just kidding. Sorry, Slade.
I know. I thought that for some reason I thought that he was gonna know a lot more than me, but then he was asking me questions, and I was like, oh, this is a turn of events.
It was kind of fun because I told him I went in the office and I said, dude, Hershey's here. I got to go play Hershey because we never get to play each other. I said I want you to play Trista, and you guys are pretty close to the same level. She's just learning, and he plays so many games he forgets what he's playing half the time. So you have to go back and remind him. So that's why I thought it would be a good setup for both of you guys, because you could help each other, and you did. And it was a great game because I could tell he was having fun with you because you were beating up on him, and he was like, "Oh, here we go. Let me roll it." Oh, you got
and we were both playing Cassian and K2.
And it was great.
Yeah.
It was a thing, and you guys were just shooting each other, and it was an awesome sight to see. And like I said, the guys all were welcoming, as far as I know. If they didn't, well, then I'll go back and bounce some heads. But yeah, no, they were all welcoming. They tried to do it. We had a great time. That was a lot of fun. You learn quickly. Yeah. You learn very quickly.
Yeah, thank you. I like to kill. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah. I try to take Ben's bad habits away and tell don't do it that way. That's not the right way to do it. But yeah. But no, that was a
I know.
great.
I did get some conflicting advice.
Yeah, well.
That's because Ben doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, Ben's yeah.
All right,
Never
Bob. One of us has a world invite. Just saying.
Do we really want to go there? No.
We don't have time.
Okay.
No, I will say so. You played Rebels. Like, what do you enjoy, like, in Legion? Like, what is it like? Like, obviously, like, you're not like diving into the deep end and like buying your own army and everything. Like, we're kind of sharing just stuff right now. But like, what is it that, like, as like just a light player in it, that you've only like played a couple games and like you kind of want to play a few more and stuff, but like, what do you like about Legion? Like, what is it that you enjoy in it? I know you said I like to kill things.
I do like to kill things. I like to destroy other people's army. That's really fun. I like the thematic elements to it, and
Yeah.
I like Rebels, even though they die super fast. They're still my favorite so far.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Not that I've played with a lot of other armies yet, but I will try.
Okay, let me ask you this: out of the characters that you played, do you think that they feel like they do in the movies? You know, is Cassian set up like you would expect Cassian to be set up? He's got, his gun.
I think so.
I think that, because that to me is nothing worse than getting in and getting a character and going, why did they give them that?
I think so with what I have played. The couple of times I've played Cassian and K2 so far, I can easily picture like how they were in the movie together, and I can really get that vibe with them on the board.
Cool.
So yeah, I'd say from what I've played so far, yeah.
Excellent. It's always a question I try to ask the newer people. What do you think of the characters? Because sometimes I'm like, man, why did they get that, or why did they get this? But for the most part, I think they do a really good job. Davies and everybody at FFG, when they design this stuff, I'm starting to get a behind the scene picture of how stuff works from some sources, and it's really neat, all the steps that they go through. And sometimes you're like, did they even play test this? And well, they did. And majority rules, and the guy designing the game basically says, nope, that's the way I want it to work, and that's the way it's going to be. So you kind of got to deal with that too. But yeah, that's cool. That's a good. Thank you very much for that perspective.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all we needed. So why don't we work on getting you to an escape pod?
All right, men, load your weapons. Blast them!
Stormtroopers, they've caught on to us. We better get out of here right now. I told you it was going to get ugly.
Crap. All right. Wait a minute. Okay, where's my pistol?
Did you leave it on the ship?
No, I had it right here in my holster.
Somebody had to save your skins. I'd love to drop troopers all day, but I need to get to the escape pod.
All right. Good luck, babe. May the Force be with you.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck to you. May the Force be with you.
All right. That was good. What were we going to talk about next?
Man, that was a lot of work. That was a lot of freaking work. And now we got this ride back to the ship in this escape pod. What are we going to do in here?
I actually can't get it started yet, so we might as well just go ahead and finish the show that we were doing, and while I get this working.
All right. Okay. So I ended up with 3 boxes of ARC Troopers, and while I was putting them together, I decided to paint one set blue, because of course you got to have the blue 501st in anything that you do with clones. So I got them all put together. I got the paint jobs, did a little bit different stuff on the helmet, did Five's tattoo on his head. Did they give you a Jesse bald-headed clone.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and put the tattoo on him, and then Echo just looked like Echo. So got them all together, put them in the different positions, set them all up like they were on the box. And while I was building them, I painted them all blue. So I have 14 blue ARC Troopers that look relatively the same. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, what in the heck am I going to do to make them look different? I moved the arms around a little bit on them to where they, some of them have their guns up. Some of them are doing the Rex stance with the dual pistols, right. Cowboy stance and stuff. But I'm like, man, I'm never going to be able to tell these apart. So I did my old trick of I made their bases different.
Yep.
One set all have the same base, which is it's a premium base. It's got the pipes in the floor and I figured out how to put magnets in them to where I can magnetize them. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, this is just not enough. They all still look the same because all their bases are white and they're all the premium bases. So I'm like, crap, what do I do? Because like I put Jesse over there because he doesn't have a helmet on. I put Fives over there. He doesn't have a helmet on. But Echo's got to be over in another squad because you can't play Echo and Fives together. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take their helmets off, and I'm going to get in my bag of heads, just like Venom said, bag of heads, bag of bodies. And I put all actual heads, unhelmeted, faces, on one set of 5, of group of 5. And I went through, and I already had 2, so I ended up painting one head with the black hair, just like most of them have.
Yep.
But the cool thing is, I made one with a brown hair. It's a real light brown. Mm-hmm. And I always put eyes. If I'm going to do faces on stuff that I like, I always put eyeballs. So they all have eyes. They all have eyebrows.
Sure.
And I got down to the very last one, and I'm going through the bag of heads, and I get to this one head, and I said, "This one's different. What the heck's different about it?" And it actually was from Rex.
Oh.
So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sneak a Rex head in here. So I put it on there. I paint the head. You know, if you look at Rex, if you're old like I am, you used to have G.I. Joes, and they all had that fuzzy, flock hair.
Yeah.
And they all had that look to them. And, Rex, I think they modeled Rex after that G.I. Joe because his hair is kind of that blondie looking, crud.
Yeah,
so I painted
I could buy that.
I ended up painting it that color, and I painted this. I just happened to get his smirk because he's always got that smirk on his face, and I got it, and I put it on one of the guys that is he's down on the ground. He's down on one knee and got the 2 guns in the air, and the only thing that makes him not Rex is he's got the ARC Trooper shoulder pads. Rex only has the one, and the pauldrons, I think is what those would be called.
Yep.
But it's and I just snuck it in there, and I just set him like I got a round pizza metal tray that I carry all my stuff around, and I put him like 4th in line, so he's real inconspicuous. But if you look at, you're like, well, that looks like Rex. Michael's like, did you put Rex in the ARC Trooper thing? Because he is an ARC Trooper, but he's his own, he's a commander. And I'm like, yeah, that was Rex in training before he became Captain Rex or Commander Rex. He was stuck in the ARC program, so that's him like in high school.
There you go, high school Rex.
High school Rex. There you go. So I got those all done, and I was real happy with those. So I stopped with those because I'm probably never. I don't know. I might run snipers, but I'm going to run those 2 sets of arcs. And I still got another whole box of arcs, which I think I'm going to go with the red scheme because I usually do reds and then yellows if I've got the extra. So those guys, they got the arms. I really don't like the new arms. I like the pegs to where you can stick them in there and move them around and stuff. I find it really difficult when they're like two-handing a gun to get the arms exactly perfect and get it glued and get it all set into place the way I want it before it gets moved around. So that's one thing I don't like about the arcs is the little knob that they put there that you put in the little tiny hole in the side of their body. I don't like that much at all. But other than that, they were pretty easy to put together. They were just as easy as any of the other troopers. I ended up doing I got a box of Inferno Squad. They're to me, they're the most simplest thing in the world. Spray paint them black, put the reds on them. Some guys have been buying decals for their helmets, which are kind of cool. I actually
just did that. I accidentally bought decals earlier this week, and they should be in relatively soon. I went in and I was looking at the decal order. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to order this, this, and this. And I was like, I need to do that at some point. Josh, what do you want? You want this? Oh, okay. I'll just add that in. And then I was just like looking at that order and was like, yeah, okay, that's how much that would cost. And then like my brain, which this is a dangerous thing, just automatically went through the cart, went through checkout, paid for it, and then like I woke back up when it was an order confirmation like email. I was like, oh, I just ordered those. Oh well, I needed them anyway, so I guess they're on the way now.
Very cool. Very cool.
So hobbying wise, I recently also did a little bit of a alternate sculpt, if you will. So like you did a little bit of a conversion, and I'm also doing a little bit of a conversion of my own. I was actually inspired. I knew I wanted to do this at some point, but then something you had said last show made me go, you know what? I could probably do that now because I have Clan Ren now.
Is she flying?
Yeah, I'm making a flying Sabine.
That's awesome.
I don't have it painted yet, but I have it completely made. So what I did was I I had to add some. I have her on the tall flight stand, and I have her like completely horizontal going forward. Her head is up, so she's like looking at what she's flying at. The dark saber is down, like she's holding it, ready to swing it at somebody. The pistol is out in front of her, like she's going to shoot at somebody on the ground.
That's going to be sweet.
And then I had to cut the legs around and do some green stuff and glue on the legs so that her legs didn't, because like she's taking that like step forward in the normal pose,
Right.
and I had to cut one of them around. I think I left one of them. I think I left like her back foot that has like the step and it's kind of bent. I left that one, and then I cut the other one to be like straight. And so I had to do a little modeling work around the knees, but it looks like once it gets painted, I think it's going to look totally great. And I actually wanted to start on that today, but I never got around to it. But I'm definitely going to be doing that, and I'm going to paint her up as season 3 Sabine, and I'm really looking forward to having that model done, because that's going to be a one of a kind Sabine. And it's something that, like, as a general thing that I wanted to like kind of talk to was like these alternate sculpts. So we have, and we'll try to keep this brief, but I wanted to talk to you about this, Bob. So like we have all these different methods of doing alternate sculpts in the game. You know, you can take your own model. Like I didn't take anything else except for that flight stand from another kit, but everything that I did to make a different pose for Sabine was all done with one Sabine and some green stuff. And then I got that pose. I got the flight stand from another kit, but that's something else. You can do and then like you did your heads and you made like their headless customization option. Like there's different ways that you can make a completely different sculpt from what is normally what the sculpt looks like. You can do it within the own kit. You can borrow stuff from other kits. Like I have, characters that have heads from other kits.
Exactly.
Like maybe you have a rebel, like you cut one rebel's head off, like one of the rebel leaders, and maybe you put a clone trooper head on there, and now he's like an old Clone Wars vet leading the rebel forces. There's alternate sculpts you can do like that. I saw somebody, man, I forgot to get the name, but I saw somebody who made like a bunch of conversions with like, he took a Jedi Luke and added Cassian's head onto him and made him like a different character. And it looked so cool. Or maybe it wasn't Jedi Luke, maybe it was Obi-Wan. But anyway, like the point was he was like bringing stuff from different sculpts and kit bashing them together and making a really cool alternate sculpt for somebody.
Exactly. And you can do that with a lot of the stuff. Like the big thing I'm going to be working on eventually, if I ever get done painting stuff, which that's never going to happen because I've got about 9 boxes for the store owner at Atomic, and then I've got about 9 boxes of my own stuff to paint that I'm behind and backlogged. But I have an Obi-Wan Kenobi and a Boba Fett, and I'm wanting to do a head swap and a gun swap and make Kenobi in the Fett armor, and you could almost do it probably with Clan Ren too, one of their sculpts, and make when he went to save Satine. Yep. He had the red armor on, the red Maul armor on and stuff, but he had his lightsaber and a gun and the backpack and everything. So I ended up actually trading. I had a Grievous model out of my starter kit, and I ended up trading it back to the guy that I was trading so I could get the Kenobi to do the sculpt that I want to do with the Kenobi and the Fett armor. And it's going to be amazing when it gets done. I've seen a lot of things like that. I think the most amazing thing I saw the other day is somebody had made one of the of Maul's Death Watch. So they had the red armor, they had the right paint job. They had taken little pieces of plastic, and I don't know if they just cut them out of you can go buy plastic sheets at Hobbytown, or that's where I get mine, is Hobbytown. But he had made the horns on the helmet.
On the helmets, yeah.
And it was absolutely it was a beautiful job, because you got to be really careful, because if you glob too much paint or glue on there, it's not going to look right. But he had somehow got the glue consistency perfect. The paint job looked like it had been shabbied together like it does on the actual picture. And somebody had brought it up. If you look at that sculpt or at that picture, the flight suit's kind of a brown. It's not really a black. Everybody wants to paint it black because it looks cooler. Red and black, of course, it looks really good. But it's a brownish. It's kind of like almost a farmhand, oversuit that you see farmers wear when it's cold, kind of like a Carhartt thing.
Yeah.
And the guy had got that right too. He'd got the exact brown. So I mean, it was just dead on of the picture that they always show. You always see where it's kind of got that action stance. And I'm thinking, man, that would be just really cool to put that together and mod it, get it all modded out, because you've got the pieces to do it. It's mostly paint, and then having the tenacity to be able to cut those little tiny head spikes out and get them glued. I mean, that would be tweezers and just a minute amount of glue to get in there and do that by hand. But somebody's going to do it, and they're going to get it exactly right, and they're going to put it out on the net, and you're going to go, oh man, I want to do that. And
right.
I think that's what's cool about doing the mods is it inspires other people. That's the big thing I think we're saying is don't be afraid to go out and mod. Use those pieces. Like I said, I got a bag of freaking just clone helmets, phase 1s, phase 2s. Some of them are off the speeder bike guys. Save all that stuff. Don't throw it away just because you didn't use it. I mean, Warhammer guys have been teaching this forever. Get a bit box.
Yep.
Because eventually you're going to use it. My big thing I'd like to see them do, and they did it with the phase 2 clones, is guns without hands wrapped around them. Because every time you look at the guns, they've always got hands, and you've got to sand it down or clip them off there or do whatever. And I've seen some people do some really excellent jobs, but would it kill them on those sprues? They've got a little bit of extra space every once in a while. Put a couple of rifles like DC-15s. I'd love to have a set of DC-15s to slap on my arcs.
And something else you can do that helps with that is something that I wanted to talk, the other option I wanted to talk about alternate sculpts, which was these websites and services and things online that offer just straight up like STL files and like resin prints of alternate sculpts for the game. So like alternate Leia, a different pose for Vader, like, and all these really cool things. So there's Skullforge, there's Mel Miniatures, there's Darkfire Studios, and one in particular that might interest you, Bob, is Buckethead Bits.
Yep,
where they have a whole bunch of of clone parts, and they have some guns and helmets and stuff that you can like swap your stuff around. So they're good for like conversions and stuff. But some of the other websites just have things that are like a different pose for Leia, or a different costume for Luke, or different both for Han, or like things like that. And I think, and I wanted to say that, like, I think that adds a really cool thing into the game, that, that fans are coming together, both the game and Star Wars, and they're making these alternate costumes and alternate poses that are really, really cool looking, and that are like people's favorite versions of the character, and that they can print those out or have them ordered to them, and, however they want to do them, and they can paint those up like a regular figure, and then use the cards that they got with when they bought that character. You can use the same cards, but you can use that sculpt. And I think it's really cool that it makes it possible with like the addition of the silhouette. So like in a game, if I was playing you, Bob, at the store, or maybe like at just a game between the two of us, I could lay down this alternate sculpt of like this, my favorite version of Leia, or my favorite costume of Luke, or my favorite pose of Han Solo,
or my Rex that I like to use.
The Rex that you have, we can use those, and it's not going to, by the new rules of the silhouette, it's not going to affect gameplay at all. It's still you're still shooting at the same shape. It's the exact same thing. I can bring my cards, and they apply to the same like silhouette. I guess it's a cylinder technically.
Correct. Yeah.
But
cylinder.
It applies to the same shape. I could have my Leia up on a flight stand, honestly, and it would be, like I said, the same. But the old rules didn't really allow for that. So the old rules made it to where like any part of the model you could see, you could shoot it. So
exactly.
It's like that. The silhouette changes that completely and allows you to kind of do whatever you want with your model, and make that still the same game mechanic wise, but you visually get to, as a fan, enjoy your favorite sculpt or your favorite thing about the figure.
And that's what's cool about those stands. I wish they honestly would make them for vehicles and stuff like that. And then they may. I mean, because sometimes there a question came up on the internet that was passed around a lot about a tank, a hover tank behind a rock.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of back and forth, and a lot of the judges in the community got asked what they thought, and it was no cover because of the way it was set, and they hadn't discussed it before the game started that rock or whatever was going to cover hover vehicles and this and that. So, if there had been a flight stand for it, which I know that'd be a huge flight stand, it'd be crazy, but that would have covered that. But the flight stands in general are very cool, especially with the arcs and the Mandalorians all flying around, because who's going to put their Mandalorians or arcs on a flight stand when it's going to be taller than everything and they're just going to get shot out of the sky? So I think that was really smart. And we can do another little plug here for Legion Academy. They have a bunch of them on their website that they're selling. They're really cool. They've got all the symbols for the different factions on them. So if you're looking for some of those, if you're going to go to the tournaments when they start back up after the virus gets done, and
the silhouettes, you mean?
Go, yeah.
Not flight stands.
Yeah, not the flight stands. The silhouettes. Yeah. So.
No, what I'd like to see at some point is like a website or a service that they have them for 40K. What I'd like to see them do for Legion eventually is like a bits dedicated website. Like we have the Buckethead bits, for example. That's the closest thing we've got right now, but those are third party. What I'd like to see at some point is like websites, like Legion's getting to that point. I would like to see some kind of service that like just sells like the actual bits, like for Legion,
like armor, like helmets, different
right,
style
like
helmets,
I'm like and it could be a parts missing thing, like I'm missing this snowtrooper helmet, or the snowtrooper didn't come with an arm, or my ATRT right out of the core rebel box didn't come with a handle. You can go onto this website and then like just buy that bit and be done. And like they do that kind of stuff for 40K. I would love to see that come to Legion, because then you can do conversions and stuff like that a lot easier. Yeah. And so like and technically you couldn't use those at like a tournament. I think there's some dicey rules going on there. Like your main sculpt has to be FFG, right?
Yep. And they have to be FFG ones. They could be Imperial Assaults. They can be Legion ones, but you can't go out and buy Skullforge or whoever and take to a tournament. Now, locally, you can do that at your local game store if your people agree and say it's okay. All parties have to agree from a judging standpoint. But at the big tournaments, Adepticon, this and that, I actually ran into a problem with I've got an Old Man Rex sculpt that I like to use. I usually just use it as a generic commander, and I make sure that the person at the table knows. And I went to the head judge at Adepticon and said, hey, I got this for Rex. And they're like, you can't use it. Now, my Sabine, that was an Imperial Assault, I could use, because that's officially licensed through FFG for them to use with their game product. But and I've seen some really pretty ones and some really, really, really nice paint jobs and stuff. And I would allow you to use those at my store, just because. But you'd have to tell whoever you're playing, hey, this is Leia, just because, and stuff. They'd know it was Leia, but you'd still have to say, I'm using this instead of the Leia sculpt for my Leia. And I would be fine with it, but they will not allow that up at the things. You can bring them and show them to people and stuff, but you can't put them on the board at major tournaments.
Right. Yeah. It's ultimately a discretion, a TO discretion, like conversation that you have. You can say like, hey, is this allowed? They can allow it or not. But I would say if you're going to an event, like an official event, I would say just in case, bring the normal sculpt in case you have someone saying that no, it's not okay, and then just swap out that sculpt. So far, I've not come across a single person that has even remotely not been okay with an alternate sculpt. In fact,
usually that's really cool.
Yeah, everyone that I've met so far in the community has been like, that is so awesome, use that. I haven't really done it that much in a tournament setting, so it might be a different scene there. But
we've had to do that with the X-Wing. I used to do a lot of alt cards for X-Wing and stuff, and I did one of Rendar's ship, and everybody loved it. They're like, this is the coolest thing ever, and everybody would carry it around. But they had an incident at one of the stores I was playing. Some guy goes, that's not a legal card. And the guy's like, it is a legal card. It's fine. It's, what it is. It's got all the stats on it. It looks just like the other card, except, it's hand-drawn and it's beautiful because Bob Swaim did it. And the guy's like, nope, not going to allow it. And the guy had to, go dig in his car, find his Dash Rendar card, take it in there, and basically put it in front of the card that I'd give to the guy. So I told him, I said, so what you do is you just, carry both cards, put the actual FFG card behind the alt art card. So if you do get another a-hole like that, you can just pull it out and go, look, okay, I got this card. I'm going to leave this card here. If you have any questions or rules questions, we'll pull out the original card and go here. And the same with the sculpt. If they really want to be, killjoys about it, you just trade it out. You play the game with that, and the next guy's going to go, "Oh, that's the coolest thing ever. Go ahead and play with it. That'll be awesome
Right.
on the board."
Yeah.
So it's just
like
a matter.
It mechanically does not change anything.
Right. As long as you
because
tell
of,
the
like,
person that you're playing.
silhouettes.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I don't really see the. I mean, I could see, like, if you had a sculpt, if you were playing Luke Leia, and then you had like a male Jedi, and you were using that for Leia, and then you had a female commander looking character, and you were using that for Luke. Like, maybe then I'd be like, okay, this is a little confusing. I'm gonna mentally be thinking that that's Luke and that's Leia when it's not. So it's like, if you were like, if you were using the Jedi character for Luke and the commander version for Leia, like, I'd be like, that's fine. But if you like did both of those around, I could see that being a niche case where it's like, okay, now you're playing with, like, my subconscious is going to think that Luke, mechanically Luke is over here and Leia's over here when it's actually swapped.
Exactly.
And so that could be, so I can see that being an issue, but otherwise, like, if it's the same character and you're going to know that it's the same game piece, and mechanically, because of silhouettes, they don't change anything, I don't really see how it could be a problem.
I think a lot of it has to do with just licensing, and Disney. You've heard
right, and official. I'm saying
Disney.
Otherwise, like, if there were any opponent that was going to say, no, I want you to use this, like, FFG wise, I understand why they want you to do that, but like an opponent who has a problem with it, I'm not sure where that comes from. Maybe we can talk to somebody and try to get that perspective.
Yeah, because I don't understand it. I think whatever you're using on the board is fine as long as your opponent is made aware of it, and you might remind them the first time that you go, remember this is Leia, all right, and okay, cool. Or if they go, well, who is that again, or what is that representing? Because sometimes in the heat of the game, you're looking around and you're like, I don't recognize that piece. Why is that on the board? But for the most part, I've never had a problem with anybody ever. Even with my Rex being what it was. Even when I wasn't playing it as Rex, I was just playing it as a generic commander because they don't have old fat Rex in Rebels yet. So I don't have a problem. And at my store and events that I'm running, I don't sweat that's lightweight stuff. I worry about the heavy duty, this guy moved there, did he move there, who knows. There's enough stuff to worry about judging that do they have the model that looks like Leia? Does she have her snowsuit on, or does she have her bikini on? Not my problem. It's whatever you want to do. I don't care. I'm there for you to have a good time and to have an easy time judging stuff. And so as long as my players are happy, I'm happy. For the most part.
Oh, there we go. It looks like I got the escape pod working.
Very good. Very good.
All right. Well, I think we can probably see ourselves out of here now before Vader finds us.
Good, because man, their food selection here sucks. It's all that slushy, vile, gray goo crap that they feed. No wonder stormtroopers can't shoot anything. They're always hungry.
I haven't launched yet. Do you want to take up your food complaint with Vader?
Maybe next time. I'm sure we'll run into him again before it's over with.
All right, I'll go ahead and launch the pod now and punch in these coordinates. But wait a minute. The transmission's going to cut in, so we should probably wrap up here.
Okay.
All right. Well, hope everyone listening had a dice time with our show today. We love hearing feedback. We love hearing from you guys in the community, and so far everything I've heard has been great. If there's more that you'd like to hear, or any other kind of topics or discussions you want to hear about, don't be afraid to reach out to Bob or I on Facebook. We're both on Facebook. And, as a reminder, I'm Ben Jetron.
I'm Bob Swaim.
Yep. And we're going to be launching. So, Bob, buckle in.
Yes. You guys have a great time. Stay safe, everybody. Take care of everybody and have a good time gaming.
Yep. Go make today even better, y'all.